Little different video here today. This will be on an electric winch in a enclosed trailer. So this is the new Anvil off-road electric winch from Holley. Holley, it's a Holley company. And anyway, I opted for the 4,500 pound Anvil winch. Typically they call these for ATVs, but the majority of the time winches are horribly oversized anyway. And the smaller the weight rating, the faster they run. So over the years I've had a bunch of different brands. I've had Harbor Freight and whatnot, and I guess most people are going to compare these to Harbor Freight. So I did the same thing because I'm cost conscious, and this was right at $200. It came with a synthetic rope, and it already came with the wireless and the hardwired setup. So if you were to do the same thing through Harbor Freight, it was like $249 or $259 for their Badlands series winch. So anyway, this is going to be kind of an overview on how to install this thing. Some of you guys have already done this. My typical YouTube subscribers are probably more into Holley EFI tech stuff, but I figured I gotta try to get this hunk of junk here that doesn't run, and you guys have probably been here before, into that. So I tore my pec a couple weeks ago and I'm not pushing it. So I'm going to show you kind of how to do this the easy way and not have problems in the future. So it comes with a little winch plate. What you wind up doing is bolting this to this, and then you bolt this down to the floor. So this is a intech aluminum trailer, and this was already prepped for a winch when it was ordered. So this is my lower cabinet. Don't have to use, I won't be using the one from Anvil. It does the same thing. So it's hard to see, but 3 holes for these 3 bolts to drop through the floor. And then underneath the trailer, I'll get under there in a minute when I start doing some wiring. But underneath the trailer, there's another piece of aluminum that's a backer. So the majority of y'all have I've used in the past like really large fender washers. It's not exactly ideal. The best way to do it would be weld a piece of steel in between the 2 frame rails underneath of the trailer. But in a pinch, you could use really huge grade 8 fender washers as kind of reinforcement underneath of the wood, so it's got something strong to pull against. This trailer, the battery is actually here in the floor, so I'm going to have to drill some holes to run wire up into the battery box from the winch. But when you install it, this is your little control box. Bolt this up somewhere next, real close to the winch. And then you run your power and ground to it, and then you can plug in. It's got like a nice plug on it. It's one thing I didn't like about the Harbor Freight deal is that in order to do wired and wireless, it was ghetto to make it work. So this is actually kind of nice. It's got a nice plug, so it's sealed, and then it's got a remote. I don't know how far away it works, but I'm going to assume it probably at least 50-60 feet. So this has got 70 or 80 foot of synthetic cable. The reason I opted for synthetic rope as opposed to the aluminum cable is because the metal cable hurts your hands really bad. So the synthetic rope has never given me a problem, and it doesn't tear up the floor. This trailer's got an aluminum floor, but my last trailer had rubber coin flooring, and it'll tear up the floor. That metal cable will tear up the floor. So, all right, I'll be back here shortly. I'm going to mount this thing to the floor and bolt this on. But what you're going to do before I go is these 4 holes here. All right, they've got little nuts sit inside of them, and you take the hardware they supply and thread them in from the bottom side of this. So the first thing you'll realize is that the head of the bolt is protruding. So this plate's not going to lay flat. That's all right. I'm going to wind up using some washers here to get the right spacing, you know, so that it all, you know, at least it's got 7 points of contact instead of 3, or instead of 4. But or you can, what I did in the past, 1/4 inch hole, not all the way through the wooden floor, for the head of the bolt to countersink into, so that this will lay flat on the floor. So, all right, let me drill some holes, and I'll be back. I bolted the winch down. It's got the 3 bolts going through the floor, bolts to the winch plate into the winch. So there it is. It's mounted. The floor. You have to unravel the lead in order to get to the 3 bolts, unless you drop the 3 bolts through the winch plate before you bolt the winch to it. Now it's time to mount the control box and start wiring it. So this control box is basically just a forward and reverse. It's got 4 posts on it and then 1 lead coming off of it right here. And the lead coming off of it is to plug in your what they call handlebar controls. And it's also got the wireless built into it. So the 4 leads on it, they're labeled. It says, let's see, you can see that, battery minus, I'm trying to get some light here for you, battery minus, battery plus, and then motor minus, motor plus. So self-explanatory, comes with 2 sets of cables. The short ones are for your, you know, from the motor to the control box, and then the long ones are for the control box to the battery. So if you wanted to, you could put, you know, this further away from your winch if you wanted to put it near the battery, if that was easier to get to. But with my scenario, I think I'm going to wind up just putting it behind the winch up on the wall instead of trying to wedge it in there. So I'm about to mount it up on this back wall and then run some cables, and I'll show you kind of how it works. All right, I'll be right back. Amount of this thing is these little rubber boots. They're important. Put them on. They're a pain to put on once you get them up over top of that stud, but they are worthwhile. So do it, and my suggestion is put them on before you mount this thing, so you're not laying and contorting up in there, getting frustrated and then quitting, because that's typically what happens. So, all right, now I'm going to mount this thing. They're up underneath the trailer. I haven't cleaned that up yet, but kind of just wanted to show you what it'll lay out like. I'm going to zip tie it up and, you know, make it look a little nicer, a little more compact. But there's the winch itself. The synthetic rope is all ran out. There's actually 2 of these sheaths on here, so the rope slides inside of this, and there's one at the other end as well. We're going to test out the wireless remote, but here is the, haven't figured out how I'm going to mount this yet, but here is the manual, you know, the wired remote for it. So you want to draw it in. First impression is this thing actually is a good bit faster than the Harbor Freight deal. So anyway, this trailer's 28 foot plus the flap. I think we're right around, and at the car here, we're right around, I would say 55-ish feet away from the winch. Some of it's rolled in, but here we go. As you can see, you can probably hear it too. It is pulling us in. we've got plenty of range with the wireless deal, which is nice because you can just hold this down and steer the car into the trailer as you're, you know, trying to load it in there straight. So overall, I like this thing. It comes complete with the, you know, with the good rope, with 2 of the little sheaths on the rope. The little Harbor Freight deal only comes with 1 sheath, and it's actually kind of crappy. It's quieter than the counterpart, and it seems to be moving a little bit faster. So I'm a fan. I like it. I'll put a link up to, they make them bigger, but for, you know, street car, race car, and an enclosed trailer, I've never found a need to have one that was bigger than, you know, 4,000, 4,500 pounds. So that's all I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed, and hope it was at least informative. Normal range, but figure we all race, and we all need winches because we all wind up breaking our stuff. So hope it taught you something. See you guys.